So the Isle of Armor's been out for a full 24 hours now, and I've had the time to actually go through and play through everything, and I've kind of figured out all the new features and everything inside of the Isle of Armor. So what I wanted to do is make a quick video going through all of the new features, everything that you can do in the Isle of Armor, because there's some really cool stuff that you'll definitely want to do once you get to the Isle of Armor. So let me go ahead and flip over to some gameplay, and I'm going to show you everything. So the first thing I want to talk about is the obvious thing that you can see here. I have my shiny Dragapult following me around in the Isle of Armor. This is really cool. This is a new feature that they added with this new update that allows you to have any Pokemon, like literally any Pokemon, follow you around, which is really cool. If you don't have the DLC, you will not get this feature, so just keep that in mind. You will have to beat the 3 trials that you originally have to do once you get into the dojo and start the storyline, so just keep that in mind. Also, look, we match. We have matching outfits. That's really cool. This is also the dojo outfit. This is the outfit that you actually get inside the dojo once you start the storyline, which I really love it. I think it's really cool. The only thing is I'm a little upset because once you put it on your back, kind of disappears, but you know, it's okay. So another really cool thing that you can do in the Isle of Armor is find 151 Diglets that are hidden around the Isle of Armor. As soon as you load into the Isle of Armor, you'll actually come across this bridge here, and there will be a Diglett right here. Once you approach that Diglett, it'll pop up out of the ground. This guy's gonna walk up and ask you to find 150 more of his Diglets that he happens to have lost around the Isle of Armor. So you can go around and do that. The really cool thing about it is it's pretty easy. There are separate locations. Like, I'll pull up my map here, and I've already completed like 10 locations. But as you can see, like the Pot Bottom Desert, or for instance the Training Lowlands, or the Forest of Focus, there are those specific areas, and it'll actually tell you once you find a specific Diglett, like, hey, you just found 7 out of 10 in the Forest of Focus or something like that. So it kind of tells you how many more are in that location, and they're really not that hard to find. You'll actually see the 3 little hairs that are sticking out of his head. You'll see that popping up out of the ground. So just kind of pay attention. They're usually like around a corner or something, like around an edge, kind of in like obvious hidden locations, if that makes sense. So they're really not that hard. Like I said, I did 10 locations in like an hour and a half, and that was me not knowing where they were at all. I'm also going to be making a guide for that, so stay tuned on the channel. It should release sometime today or tonight, going through all 151 locations. That's pretty cool. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm actually going to write over here, is something called Max Soup, and that's something that was introduced with the Isle of Armor. And that's something I touched briefly on when I was talking about the upcoming DLC, when we got a lot of leaked information. But all you have to do is go into the dojo. Once you beat the 2nd challenge, I believe, or you might have to beat all 3 trials, what you have to do is go over here to the left, and you'll see this guy standing here. If you go over to the right and press over here by the sink, it'll actually tell you Pokemon that have the potential to Gigantamax and can drink Max Soup. So it tells you a whole list of Pokemon that you can use Max Soup on. And what Max Soup does is it gives that Pokemon the ability to Gigantamax. It gives it the Gigantamax factor, which is really cool. That's something I'm going to be using on a ton of Pokemon. So if you really want to have all the possible Gigantamax forms of every Pokemon, you can do it through this feature here. Now, in order to make the Max Soup, all you have to do is go up and talk to this guy, and he'll say, hey, do you want to give your Pokemon Max Soup? And I'll say, yep. Of course, I don't have any Max Mushrooms right now. I've already used them on some of my Pokemon, but he'll say if you don't have them, in order to make Max Soup, you need 3 clusters of Max Mushrooms. You have a max rate battle particles for Dynamax will scatter around all over the place, which helps Max Mushrooms grow in forests and caves on the Isle of Armor. So again, all you have to do is do some max raid battles, and they will start spawning around the Isle of Armor. So I've had some people say that getting Max Mushrooms is really difficult. I did a few max raid battles myself and had them spawn in a couple of places. I don't know if I got lucky. I'm going to do a little bit more research, and I'm going to try to find every single spawn location. So again, this is a lot of new information, but once I actually learn about where they're all at, I'm going to make an updated video on that as well. But let's go ahead and keep moving along. Now, another really cool thing that you can do in the Isle of Armor is you can actually trade with people to get their original forms and not their Galarian forms. So for instance, if I go up and talk to this lady here, she'll say, hey, I came from a different region and I've been looking for Galarian Pokemon. Maybe you have a Stunfisk from here. How about trading a Galarian Stunfisk to me? I could give you one from my region. Say yes. Let me see if I can find one. Do I have a Stunfisk? Surely I do. Yep, there we go. All I have to do is give her the Stunfisk, and boom, now I got myself the original Stunfisk. And once you do that, she disappears. But like I said, there's a ton of these people all over the island, so you can trade your Galarian forms for the original forms of that Pokemon, which is a pretty nice touch, so that gives you something to do as well. Also, look at all these little micro environments. It's so cool. Like, this is like the swamp areas, and then you got like a sandstorm area, and you have a beach area. You even have like a complete open sea that you can go and traverse yourself on your little bicycle, which is pretty fun. So another thing that I wanted to mention that should be pretty obvious at this point is the fact that this entire island is a wild area, which is really cool. It's an open world wild area that you can explore. You got overworld Pokemon everywhere. You're free to roam and do whatever you want. There's little items everywhere. So just ride around on your bicycle, and you'll find items everywhere. Another pretty neat thing that I almost forgot to mention is this little guy here. This guy's name is Cram-o-matic, and you can give him 4 items, I believe, and he will actually spit out a rare item for you. So for instance, let's give him, I want to give him 4 Dynamax candies, and let's see what he gives me. Oh, cool, we got a Dragon Fang. So that's pretty neat. So all you have to do is just give him 4 different items, like items that you really don't care about, or if you want to get something really rare, you can give him or rare items. I'm still working on, I know a lot of people in the community as well as myself are still working on an actual recipe book in terms of what you can get out of the Cram-o-matic. I don't know if it's random or if there's specific combos to get specific items. I know some people are saying that if you give them 4 rare candies, you'll get an ability capsule, which is pretty cool. So there's a bunch of different things that you can get from this guy. Another really neat feature is, look, he's playing the Nintendo Switch. Mustard's playing the Nintendo Switch. I think he's playing Pokemon Quest, which is pretty neat. Oh, he's talking to me. Oh, okay. He told me to get out of the way. Oh, that's funny. Now, once you beat the storyline in the Isle of Armor, you can actually go up and talk to Honey, which is Mustard's wife, and she will allow you to upgrade the dojo with a bunch of neat features like vending machines and this guy here and a bunch of other things by trading watts to her. To kind of give yourself some functionality inside of the Isle of Armor, so you don't have to keep going back to the mainland, which is pretty neat. I think it takes 500,000 watts to completely deck out the dojo, so you'll definitely need to farm up some watts for a little while, which of course with the day skip method, it really doesn't take much time at all. Now there's one issue I wanted to address with the Isle of Armor. It was something that I'd originally falsely reported on, which again is due in part to some bad information that I got actually from somebody at IGN. It's not her fault. She reached out to somebody at the Pokemon company themselves, but they were not a developer. She asked them, will Pokemon scale to you all the way up to like a level 100? They said yes. She reported that information, and apparently it was wrong. The highest level Pokemon that I have found so far is the level 80 Wailord, which is a giant Wailord that was out in the sea. But most Pokemon tend to be around level 60 when you're battling through the story. On the Isle of Armor, they're all around level 60. I think the max was level 75 with Urshifu at the very end. So I had a level 100 Mew, a level 100 Gyarados, and some other Pokemon, and I completely wiped the floor with everybody in the Isle of Armor. It was a walk in the park, which is kind of disappointing because a lot of people thought that they were going to scale to your level, even all the way up to level 100, to kind of give the people that had already beaten the storyline, you know, a challenge. It was going to be a little more difficult for them, but that was just not the case, which is kind of upsetting. So again, I do apologize for that. I did not intend to report that misinformation. It just kind of happened. It was something that I did not intend. I thought that, you know, it coming from Nintendo and IGN themselves, it was going to be credible. But again, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe they'll change it in the future, but it's something that I did want to address. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about the new Ditto Island, which is this little island over here. You can find Ditto all over this island, which is going to make them really easy to farm, really easy to access, because I know before he was kind of tricky to get a hold of. But if you go to this island, there are Ditto literally sitting everywhere over here, which is pretty neat. I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to give people the chance to get some, you know, perfect IV Dittos, or if they wanted to get a shiny Ditto or things like that, you'll be able to go to this little island here. Oh, and I almost forgot, when you're in the sea, you'll have Sharpedos following you, and they're faster than you, and they will catch you in the sea, which is crazy. It's almost kind of scary, but it's kind of funny at the same time. I was actually getting really annoyed with them last night when I was trying to find the Diglets around these islands. So I was hopping from island to island, and these guys kept catching me, and it was a pain in the butt. But that's it. That's a ton of stuff that you can do in the Isle of Armor. You have a ton of new content, and the fact that this whole area is a complete open wild area is fantastic. I'm really happy with the fact that it's a completely open world area. I really hope that they implement this into future Pokemon games. I really hope the next Pokemon title is going to be completely open world, to where you can kind of just do what you want and travel around and just kind of adventure out. I really love that aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. I'm pretty happy with it. Of course, this is only the first part of the DLC. We still have the Crown Tundra coming in the following months as well. It should release sometime in the fall, so we'll have a whole nother island or a whole nother area that we can explore as well. And apparently, according to some data miners, it's even bigger than this area. So I'm pretty excited. I definitely think it's worth the 30 bucks. So if that's something that you've been kind of waiting on just to see if it was worth it, yeah, it's worth it. If you want to play more Pokemon and you really enjoy the Pokemon franchise itself, I definitely think it's worth it. It gives you a bunch of more content and a bunch of more stuff to actually explore. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are. And until next time, peace out. Hold on, I want to do something real quick. I have questions. What if I put Whale Lord at the front of my party? Let me see. It's a beached whale. You can have Whale Lord follow you too. Oh, that's so cool. That's so fantastic. Hold on, let me see what he does when you get in the water. Is he gonna swim with you? Oh, he goes in the water. Oh, but he's a big boy. He can't he can't keep up. He just keeps despawning.